Roads? It's the Ernest Hancock Show. Where we're going, there aren't any roads.
There's something happening here. What it is ain't exactly clear. There's a man with a gun over there, telling me I got to beware. I think it's time we stop, children. What's that sound? Everybody look what's going down.
Yeah, just stop, look around. What the heck is going down? You know, the one thing that is very obvious to me is there is a demographic that we cannot get away from. While Western democracies, or whatever you want to call us, Western, we rule you, they are average age, median age, probably in the mid to late 30s. In the Middle East, it's 25 to 20. I mean, it's amazing, amazing. 30% of the people are under 15. I mean, 14 years of age and younger. You cannot escape that demographic. As the internet brings these people together, you have, you know, Sunni and Shia. You have Kurds and Iraqis. You have Saud and Bahrainians. I mean, you got everybody's pitting against each other, you know, and the government comes in and says, we'll referee for you. You know, I'm like, you're the problem. So, Raed, I just want to know, from your perspective, in Iraq, you have the youth having what kind of impact? What are they learning from each other? How are they communicating? How is the internet impacting the future there?
No, Iraq is a unique case when it comes to internet usage, because the internet penetration in Iraq is very limited. Less than 2% of the Iraqi public use the internet. Compared to, say, 35 or 40% in countries like Egypt or Tunisia or even Iran.
2%?
So,
why only 2%? What is stopping them? I mean, is the infrastructure that bad? Is it on purpose?
Yes, I think it's a combination of the lack of the infrastructure that is required to use the internet. There is no electricity, there is no phones, there is no cable network. And on the other hand, lack of education because of all of the wars and sanctions and what has been happening. But although that is the situation, imagine with a country with only 2% internet penetration, these very active online Iraqi youth have been able to put tens of thousands of Iraqis in the streets in the last few weeks. Actually, the last week, now, as we're speaking, there are two major sit-in protests. One in Mosul, in the north of Iraq, and which is a majority Arab city, and one in Sulaimaniya, in the Kurdistan Iraqi area in the north as well, which is a majority Kurdish city. There are two major sit-ins with tens of thousands of people participating every day, demanding mostly issues that sound like what Egyptians demanded, or Tunisians or Yemenis, which are combating corruption and providing people with services. Of course, in Iraq, there is an added layer to these demands, which is people are demanding an end to foreign interventions. People demand that the U.S. must abide by the deadline of all troop withdrawal by the end of this year. People demand that other neighboring countries stop interfering in Iraq's business. So it's more complex than other places. But I think Iraqis are witnessing a fascinating movement of Iraqi youth who are against sectarianism, against sectarian divisions and sectarian, what they call sectarian and ethnic allocationism in the government, where someone is chosen because they are a Sunni or a Shiite or a Christian. So it's an amazing new wave of Iraqis who sound the same, whether they were in Sulaimaniya or Mosul in the north, or Baghdad or Ramadi, or even Basra or Kut in the south. They sound the same. They have the same spirit. And I'm personally very hopeful that this will bring a good change to
Well,
Iraq.
I'm interested in the Kurds being a totally different culture. They're coordinating their sit-in along with their Arab brothers in the south and east. I mean, are they coordinating together at all or communicating? Does that age bracket not see all these separations as an impediment to them working together?
Yeah, I mean, believe it or not, they are actually coordinating. I was surprised because although the Arab and Kurdish cultures are very close to each other, and of course, for Iraqi Arabs and Kurds, they are all Iraqis and they belong to the same nation. The situation politically in the last 20 years, since 1990, has made it harder for Iraqis who are Arabs and Iraqis who are Kurds to communicate and work together. But it seems like Facebook and other internet spaces are actually providing a space for a Kurd in Sulaymaniyah in the north, and a Sunni in Erbil, in Ramadi, and the Shiite in Basra, to put all of these ethnic and sectarian differences aside, not even think about them, not even talk about them, and talk about each other as Iraqis and how they want to work together to make Iraq a better nation.
Okay, now let me ask you this, okay? You're going to have the deadline by which America was promising we're leaving come and go. And even if they do leave, I'm not even sure what that means after we got, over a dozen permanent bases there. Our embassy there is, freaking the Vatican. So I'm not sure what, withdraw even means. But there's a deadline. And they're going to say, all right, hey, you guys are on your own now. It's all yours, have a nice day. Do you think, one, that that's really going to happen? And two, if it doesn't, what's going to be the response of the people and certainly the youth? Because they very easily understand when somebody's lying to them. They go, white man speak with forked tongue over here too. You know what I mean? So I just want to make sure, what do you think's going to happen? Are they going to leave? Is the United States going to pull out? And if they don't, what will happen?
Well, what is supposed to happen is that the U.S. must withdraw all the U.S. armed forces that are affiliated with the Department of Defense by the end of the year. This includes combat and non-combat forces. And this includes shutting down all U.S. military bases, including the 12 military bases that the Bush administration was planning to turn into permanent bases. So by December 31st, 2011, the plan is that the number of U.S. troops, combat and non-combat, must be 0, and the number of U.S. bases must be 0. Now, so far, it seems that there are some attempts by the Pentagon to delay or cancel the withdrawal deadline, but the attempts were not successful because of one thing. Any renegotiation of the deadline requires an Iraqi parliamentary ratification. And I personally think it's a political suicide for any member of parliament to request prolonging the U.S. occupation for another day. To put the bigger picture, what's happening now is that the U.S. has to leave completely by the end of this year, but this does not include 17,000 personnel with the State Department. Half of them are armed private security contractors or mercenaries.
Hillary
and the
Clinton,
other half are,
Hillary Clinton has her own private army now, okay?
Correct.
This is what, and I apologize, please finish your thought process. It includes so many armed and the others are what?
So I was saying half of them are private military contractors, and the other half are embassy staff and trainers or whatever. So unfortunately, the U.S. intervention is not ending. I think the U.S. diplomatic and political and economic intervention will continue, but the U.S. Military intervention has to end. And I'm telling you, if there was an attempt, a serious attempt, to delay or cancel the deadline, this is like playing with fire in Iraq now.
That doesn't stop them. That doesn't stop them. I mean, look what they did. They didn't even go to Congress and ask, we're going to go to Libya. They just did it. You know, NATO's now the military arm of the UN or something. I mean, it's going to get a lot. What are you doing wasting your time in Washington, D.C., man? I mean, you know, we'll talk more. Raed, go ahead and stay there. I want to talk to you during the break here, but I'm telling you, man, this is going to get worse, and I can see this building up. They will come up with whatever excuse they need to make sure that there are military forces from the Pentagon in Iraq. And I want to know how the youth is going to respond, because all we got to do is wait, and we're going to find out. Raed Jarrar, RAED-JARRAR. You Google that, it'll blow up all over your screen. Make sure you get access to the information. It was a fascinating read following the war. Uncovering the secrets and exposing the lies. That's what readers of freedomsphoenix.com get every day. Readers of freedomsphoenix.com are constantly provided the information that detail the real news between the lines of propaganda about government policies and the true relationship we all have with coercive governments. Learn the true condition of our economy, innovations and technological breakthroughs in energy, health, computer science, and space travel. Learn the truth well before it's admitted to in the lamestream media, the media that is so last century. Corporate media has evolved into nothing more than distributors of government propaganda, but we now have a fantastic alternative. FreedomsPhoenix.com provides constant news updates on the issues that affect our lives in the most important ways. Our liberty and our property are under constant attack, and FreedomsPhoenix.com provides the understanding behind the propaganda while encouraging the participation of our readers. Join us at FreedomsPhoenix.com. That's freedoms with an S, Phoenix.com. FreedomsPhoenix.com, where the revolution between the ears has already matured.